You would think that a week spent in the snow and ice of New Hampshire, watching Donald Trump march to a double-digit victory over his last remaining Republican opponent, would have filled me with anxiety about November's presidential election. Of course, given that second Trump presidency would have a truly disastrous impact on United States and world. Fact that now almost certain rematch between Trump and Joe Biden remains coin toss is, according to private assessment of one of them, America's leading election analysts, still make my palms sweat. But surprisingly, I didn't exactly find America's frozen Northeast hopeful. But I buoyed by the thought that Trump was weaker according to this week's headlines and Biden stronger according to recent polls that showed the current president trailing his predecessor by 6 points. May suggest now when I hear the word coin flip, I react like Jim Carrey's character in Dumb and Dumber when he's told his odds of winning the woman of his dreams are 1 in a million. So that's what you're telling me? A chance. Of course, the reasons for pessimism have not disappeared. Biden's age remains the biggest obstacle his re-election. Even Democrats worry he may be too old to serve a second term, which could lead him leaving the Oval Office desk at age 86. Inflation hurt him. 2 18-year-old students at Bedford High told me they cast their first vote for Donald J. Trump, as they respectfully put it, in part because of high gas prices. And many voters blame Biden because, to quote Trump rival Nikki Haley, the world is on fire. They see war in Ukraine and Gaza. They hear Trump boast that there was no such problem when he was in office. And they blame Biden. Hatred of overseas conflicts and fears of the United States being drawn in are now loud in the once hawkish Republican Party. But anti-war sentiment among Democrats poses its own danger for Biden. He is trying to keep his party together. The left, and especially young voters, were appalled by his support for Israel in its fight against Hamas. This sentiment will only grow harsher after the International Court of Justice ruled on Friday that Israel must ensure that no acts of genocide are committed in Gaza. Young voters were Biden's linchpin in 2020, but he can no longer rely on them. They weren't the only Trump teenagers I met in Bedford. Trump's win over Haley in New Hampshire was assured by his 3-1 lead among registered Republicans. His overall margin narrowed as he convincingly outpaced him among undeclared or unaffiliated voters, who are allowed to participate in party primaries under New Hampshire rules. I talked to dozens of people, and very few were motivated by admiration for the former U.S. ambassador to the UN. On the contrary, their main goal was to stop that guy, and many expressed open disgust towards Trump in his race for his party's nomination. These views were easily brushed aside by the MAGA, or Make America Great Again,